You may begin, Jeb.
Okay, call this meeting of the Clarke County Board of Assessors to order. Going to have a roll call. Quaidon Payne, David Lynn.
Here.
Jeb Bradbury's here. I need to get a motion to approve the minutes of the January 17th meeting, June 17th meeting. Excuse me.
So moved.
Unmute yourself, Quaidon.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Need to get a motion to adopt tonight's agenda.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
We didn't have any public comment for tonight, so we'll move on to conservation use, new applications.
And I will be explaining those to you. Our first application is for parcel 232001. It was actually received on June 1st, which was the deadline this year for filing for conservation use, as was extended by the governor. It is owned by RPA 133 LLC. We did have to do some discovery and determine that the individual that owns this corporation is qualified because they have to qualify as a family farm entity. And they do qualify. It's owned by George Flanagan. Then we had to determine that the income that is received from this LLC qualifies, and he did send in his income, and I had John look at it, and everything looks good. So as far as the ownership goes, he qualifies, or the LLC qualifies for conservation use. It is a 132.96 acre tract, I believe. And I sent you the information, including a map. It more than qualifies for conservation use. He put down raising, harvesting, storing crops, production of plants, trees. And so it is our recommendation that this application be approved for conservation use.
Can I get that motion?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Our next application is for parcel 252011B. It is actually owned by the Namish Patel, and it was received in lieu of an appeal. They appealed the property value, and then in the process, they made application. It is 67 acres. On their application, they put down producing plants, trees, and if you look at the pictures that we sent to you, they are producing plants and trees, because you could see where staff took the pictures and everything like that. So it is our recommendation that this parcel be approved for conservation use as well.
Move for approval.
So moved.
All those in favor say aye.
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 We'll move on to exempt properties.
Okay, the first property we have that's with an exemption request is parcel 114D4C016. It's a property owned by Megan Burke at 834 Prince Avenue, and she is doing business as Healing Arts Center. Her request was under educational institution. It says that they are providing classes in stress reduction. It's also got some mindfulness classes and drumming for success, embracing the world, some many other nonprofits. It does say that 25% of the income is from classes, 25% from contributions, and 50% from rent. So there's a couple of things here that really lead to this not being eligible for an exemption. One is it's primarily rental property, and it is owned by a private owner and not by the corporation itself. And secondly, it really doesn't qualify as an educational institution because I sent y'all a case that talks about what qualifies as an educational institution. And, you know, part of the requirements is that it's a school of higher learning that grants a bachelor's degree, or if it's an academy, it's a seminary, ordinarily thought of as a school, especially a theological school for the training of members of the clergy. And a school is an institution in which teachers instruct students. And so, you know, it goes a little beyond that. You know, there has to be curriculum, there has to be some kind of learning that is going on and a way to measure that learning. So that's not really happening here. There's been numerous court cases that have dealt with this, and this falls into the category of many of them that was not granted. So it would be our recommendation that this one not be approved for exemption.
Can I get that motion?
I'll move for denial.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right, the next two that I'm going to cover are 17-1A1 Q11 and 17-1A3 A13. And these are two parcels that are owned by a church. It's the Hill, I think it's the Hill Street Baptist Church. And they use both of these lots for parking. In fact, on the aerial that we sent, Q11 actually has a parking pad. And when I was talking to Ms. Mitchell, who submitted the request, the pastor and some of the other, you know, higher officials of the church parked there. And then across the street is the other parcel. And many of the elderly will park over there because it's a straight walk on level ground back to the church. Whereas if they park in the regular parking lot, they have to walk up the hill to the front of the church. So she said they used both of these lots for parking, you know, a good portion of the time. And so it would be my recommendation or staff's recommendation that these two lots be approved for exemption.
Can I get that motion?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right, the next two I'm going to cover is 17-1 A3 A10 and A10A. And this was submitted by the Athens Masonic Association. A few years ago, they lost their status because they were not a 501c10, and you have to be a 501c10 to qualify as a Masonic association. It falls under 48.5. Let me look right quick. Got it right here. 48.541. Paragraph A15, which talks about a fraternal benefit historical association. And so part of that talks about you have to be a 501c10. So they finally have gotten that, and they got the 501c10 under the Athens Masonic Community Foundation. So that's the corporation in which they got the 501c10. The problem is they didn't convey the property over to, you know, Athens Masonic didn't go over to the Community Foundation until June of this year. And so since that did not happen, then as of January 1st, they would not be eligible for the exemption. Now for January 1st, 2021, there's really no doubt that they are. But for this year, it would be our recommendation that they not receive the exemption.
Is there a way for us to approve it already for next year so they don't have to reapply?
I think we can do that, and I'll let Marvin Nunley is the one who submitted the application, I'll let him know that for this year they don't qualify, but for next year the board has approved it. So I would make that one motion, just that it be recommended for denial for 20, but for approval in 21.
Are y'all good with that? All right.
Yes, I'll make a motion.
Second.
All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
All right, one more exemption. We've had someone appeal a couple of fraternities and, primarily appealing the value. But on one of the appeals, they actually checked taxability. And they said appealing on grounds of tax exemption, and y'all can see that on the paperwork we submitted to you. And we asked him, said, well, how would you qualify for an exemption? And he said educational institution. And I told him that, I really don't see how a fraternity could qualify as an educational institution because there's not much actual class or teachers instructing students there. And so I've told him that I really don't think they would qualify. And so right now I would like for the board to just back me up on that decision.
I'll move for denial.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. All right. So we're gonna go on to homestead exemption.
Yes, the first one, oddly enough, the property owner called and requested that we remove their homestead because it is not their primary residence. So, their mom is living there, and that is her primary residence, and so he just asked for us to remove it. I told him that I would put it before the board, and we'll still send him a 45-day letter that we are denying it, and he can appeal it if he wishes, but he would like for it to be removed for 2020.
All right, can I get that motion?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And on the next item for approval, I sent you a list of the 5 parcel numbers of these are homesteads that the board had voted to remove or deny at the May meeting. And so These were the last ones. Was it April meeting? Anyway, but these are the last ones that came in before the appeal deadline. And as you can see, most of them were from, they were non-traditional applicants. And there were 2 that we just had to verify that they were not a dependent of their parents. So we recommend that these be approved.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 And that's it.
All
so
right.
We're moving on to the digest appeal update.
All right, I'll give y'all an update on the 2020 digest. We had over 1,500 total appeals that came in by the appeal deadline. Since that time, we have resolved 464, and we've mailed 187 30-day notices. So we've got about 850 appeals remaining. This was a little more than typical. I mean, most years we receive somewhere around 1,000 appeals. So we received about 50% more this year. And we, we expected that, given the times and what's going on, we did expect that. So we're just working through them. We've been on the phone quite a bit, talking to people. We're used to a lot of people coming in and talking to us, so it's been a little different. We've done a lot of stuff by phone. We've had some conference calls. We've had some other things going on because we just, people aren't necessarily wanting to come in, and we're not really doing face-to-face meetings right now. There's only been a couple of people that have even come by the office. So as we get ready to submit the digest, the tax commissioner has it set up for next week for the Department of Revenue to come and get ready to approve our digest for submission. There's just some things that we need to run through. The first thing that I'll present to y'all is a list of some appeals that were questionably late. I always like to present this to you just in case these come up later. And, you know, you don't have to, there's no motion there. These are just ones that did come in late, and we provide that list to you just so y'all know which ones they are, and y'all have that list before you. Since we started this process, we are presenting a list of the 464 appeals that have been settled or withdrawn since we began the appeals process. So we would ask that y'all adopt these new values. So y'all saw the list, and you know, we're asking to y'all adopt those.
Can I get a motion to that effect?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
We also have a list of the 187 30-day notices that we sent. And, you know, with the 30-day notices, what happens there is we've offered a new value after reviewing the property. Most of these we've talked to, and they are comfortable with the value, but we send them a 30-day notice just for confirmation. And that's what we've done. Some of these, the 30 days are beginning to run out, and others, you know, may have been sent in the last day or two, but we're asking y'all to adopt this list of 30-day notices as well.
Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And as we've done the last few years, we will, as we move through the process, we will continue to give y'all updates at each meeting on which appeals have been resolved, you know, either settled or withdrawn, or have we've sent 30-day notices to. So we'll keep y'all in the loop throughout this entire process. The next thing for y'all to look at is a consolidation sheet as of this point. Just kind of letting you know what the numbers are. And the main thing here is that, you know, we need y'all to kind of approve the digest kind of where it sits at this point, understanding that some of these values will change as remaining parcels are reconciled. So this is, we're getting ready to push the digest through, and we have to kind of do a cutoff point, and we'll be doing that in the next couple of days. So that's what we're getting y'all to do is, and that's the motion that we need made, is to approve the 2020 digest numbers and understanding that some of these values will change as remaining appeals are reconciled.
For approval.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
The other thing that we need you to do is just to give us approval to forward any unresolved appeals to the next level, whether that be the Board of Equalization, hearing officer, or arbitration as needed.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 And then finally, for the digest submission, here's a list, the checklist for the 2020 digest submission. And most of this stuff will come between our office and the tax commissioners. The tax commissioner will produce the consolidation sheets for each district. They have the county millage rate rollback forms, the taxpayers brochure, any exemptions, the current use assessment forms, the new ones, plus a registry of everything, a list of the reason codes, the change of assessment list, pending appeals list, any other miscellaneous documents and stuff that has to be signed by the school board, by the county, and by our office. This is a list of those digest submission forms that we'll be working on over the next week as we get ready to submit the digest. So what we need is a motion to give Chairman Bradbury authority to sign the necessary paperwork for the 2020 digest to be submitted.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right, that is all that I have regarding the digest update.
We have any other questions, any other business we need to deal with today? Answer the phone. All right, well then we'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned.
Thank you.